This aerial view of Stockholm is where our story begins. In 2006, Spotify was a scrappy startup operating out of a single room here. They had a massive ambition: build a music streaming platform so fast and seamless that people would choose it over piracy. To pull that off, the founders turned to Scrum. It was perfect for a small group. They worked in short, time-boxed sprints, gathered for daily stand-ups, and relied on clear task backlogs. That rhythm gave them immense speed. While legacy companies spent months in planning meetings, Spotify's engineers shipped new updates on a continuous loop. Early on, Spotify used Scrum pragmatically as a toolbox to hit their rhythm and deliver value. But success creates its own gravity. As millions of users flooded in, Spotify expanded across borders and onto hardware, like this lineup of early smartphones. Suddenly, the engineering team had to maintain a desktop client, negotiate international licensing, and build for wildly different operating systems simultaneously. The engineering department grew from a few dozen people to hundreds. Teams started stepping on each other's toes. Launching a single feature now meant waiting for another team to update a shared database, which meant scheduling a meeting, which meant waiting another week. To manage this, they initially tried scaling up their existing processes. But as you can see in this network simulation, relying on a central Scrum of Scrums approach created a massive bottleneck. Instead of keeping teams aligned, the coordination layer started acting as a gatekeeper. They hit the scaling paradox. Their early framework was now actively draining their agility at scale. Spotify's leadership realized they were asking the wrong question. Instead of asking how to get 300 engineers to follow the exact same process, they asked, how do we design an organization where teams can move independently, but still row in the same direction? Their answer started with a unit they called the squad. A squad is a small, cross-functional team of about 6 to 12 people, developers, designers, and product experts, operating as a mini startup. They own a specific slice of the user experience end-to-end, from the first sketch to final deployment. To ensure speed, squads are given a broad mission, like make playlist discovery seamless, rather than a rigid list of tasks. If a squad feels that 2-week Scrum sprints are slowing them down, they are fully empowered to drop the framework and adopt a continuous flow system like Kanban instead. To keep these independent units aligned, Spotify grouped related squads into tribes. A tribe handles a single product domain, like search or payments. They deliberately cap each tribe at roughly 150 people, leaning on Dunbar's number, the cognitive limit on how many stable social relationships a human can maintain. By pushing authority down to the squads and keeping coordination within the boundaries of a tribe, Spotify maintained their startup-level speed. Teams made decisions locally, completely bypassing the need for a central approval board. But total autonomy comes with a hidden risk. If every Android developer is isolated inside their own independent squad, they stop learning from each other. Codebases fragment and technical standards drift apart. Spotify solved this by introducing horizontal layers, starting with chapters. A chapter links people of the exact same discipline, like all the UX designers within a tribe. The chapter lead serves as their line manager, focusing entirely on career growth and technical excellence, while the employee continues their daily work inside their squad. Above that, they created guilds. A guild is a massive, company-wide community of interest. It has no reporting lines and no mandatory meetings. Anyone passionate about a topic, say web performance or accessibility, can join a guild to share tools, discuss best practices, and elevate standards across the entire global company. This matrix achieved a brilliant balance. The vertical squads and tribes determined what to build, while the horizontal chapters and guilds determined how to build it. This intricate matrix of squads and tribes looks efficient on paper, but its real-world success depended entirely on how the people inside it handled failure. Leaders at Spotify stepped back to act as servant coaches. They removed roadblocks rather than dictating solutions. If a team launched a feature and it failed, leadership didn't punish them. They treated the failure as a valuable, required data point. That safety net allowed squads to replace boardroom guesswork with decentralized, data-driven experimentation. Teams constantly ran A/B tests, observing a real user behavior to figure out what to build next, rather than waiting for an executive roadmap. This process is how some of their most iconic features were born. Discover Weekly didn't come from a multi-year master plan. It started as a small, isolated experiment by a single squad. When the analytics showed users were hooked, they refined the algorithm and scaled it up. When teams can pivot based on evidence rather than executive permission, the organization stops fearing the unknown. This culture of high trust is what ultimately allowed the structural model to survive the pressures of scale. Fast forward to today, and you will find hundreds of companies that have attempted to copy this system. They issue a press release, rename their departments to tribes, call their teams squads, and wait for the magic to happen. Meanwhile, their managers are still demanding heavy status reports and requiring 3 layers of approval to ship code. This is a classic cargo cult, copying the visible surface of a successful system while completely missing the mechanics that make it run. The famous Spotify diagrams were a snapshot of how one specific company worked in 2012. They were never meant to be an installable software update for your business. The Spotify story is a case study in context. It's a reminder to start with your own bottlenecks, give teams genuine ownership of outcomes, and evolve your frameworks as you grow. Structure always follows culture. Agility isn't a fixed destination or a set of labels you can buy from a consultant. It is a continuous state of adaptation. Thanks for watching, Agile Highlanders. We'll see you in the next one.